Good evening, Lourdes. Thanks for being here in class. So let's begin the class, all right? I'm going to start by reviewing the introduction. I know that I think you were not able to work on that yet. So we're going to start doing that right now with you, all right? Taking advantage of the situation that we're just the two of us. So we can start by taking a look at the first two sentences that we need to have, all right, to start working together. As I was telling you yesterday, Lourdes, the introduction needs at least three important parts, right? It's going to be first the hook, right? Second is going to be the background, the context, or the outline, or the definition of keywords, right? You have many options, but that's the second step, the second thing that we need. And finally, we need a thesis statement, right? Which is going to be something that you believe it is true because of the knowledge that you have, because of the evidence that you have. Okay, so let's begin by reading this one more time. Again, I'm taking advantage of the situation, Lourdes. So let's read this, please, and let's understand what we need in the hook, Lourdes.
Okay, step one, hook your reader. Your first sentence sets the tone for the whole essay. So spend some time on writing an effective hook. Avoid long, dense sentences. Start with something clear, concise, and catchy that will spark your reader's curiosity. The hook should lead the reader into your essay, giving a sense of the topic you're writing about and why it's interesting. Avoid overly broad claims or plain statements or facts.
Thank you very much, Lourdes. So please, let's analyze what you have there. Once you have that clear, again, I'm going to, if you have questions, let me know, Lourdes. But it's important that we can go now to the file that we always write, modify. I'm sending the link just in case. And that we can start writing that first sentence, all right? So this is the first, only the first sentence, the first idea actually, because that sentence can have like extra information and you can use many of the things that you can use with a complete idea. So it's actually one, right, idea that it can be composed or one complete sentence with extra information and phrases, okay? So knowing that, I'm sharing the link. It is in the chat right now. Let's go there, please, Lourdes. And if you don't have any questions related to this, we can start writing the first sentence, only the first sentence. You can take a look at the examples. Let's say, for example, let me see if your partners were able to correct the mistakes. Okay. Okay, we can follow, right, some of these examples. For example, here, Melissa, at the beginning, it was not correct, but then we changed this to this sentence, and it says, right, some companies showed us that productivity can be improved if employees are happier, right? We believe that this can be an interesting hook because many companies may be interested, right, in increasing the productivity, in improving the productivity. So it can be catchy and attractive for a certain group of people. On the other side, we have Shari's hook. We need to modify this a little bit. I'm going to work that with Shari. It says, right, scientists discovered how music affects our mood. Just by itself, it's also interesting. I told her to add things like as concentration and add other specific things to give like a more, not general, but at the same time particular example of how music affects us in general, all right? And yours can go on that way, Lourdes. You can use superlatives. It's very interesting to use superlatives in the hook. It's not obligatory, but you can use superlatives like the best, the worst, or you can use words or expressions such as in the world, or a worldly effect, or something that is very, very interesting, or that shows us, all right, that it has a lot and a big effect. So try to write your hook, Lourdes. Anything that comes to your mind is going to be okay. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know, please.
Teacher, I have a question. Can I
Yes.
read about some of the last essays that I wrote? Like, for
Yeah.
example, I would like to write about digital marketing again,
Uh-huh.
but maybe emphasize other main point or something, or make it be better.
Yes, yes, of course, of course. Actually, that's a good idea, and that's something I advise actually, Lourdes. But yes, you can. You can work on the same essay on the same topic, but of course, it's not going to be like the same essay, right? The same topic, and you can grab some ideas and improve them. And of course, you are going to like fit the ideas that you have in the previous essay into this one that is like a very specific structure. If you can work like that, then no problem. You can do it.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Okay.
And I have another question. I was review the qualification of
Uh-huh.
the essay,
Yes.
but I can't see the corrections of the essay again.
Okay,
So I don't know
give
if
me
you
one.
can.
I'm going to share the link with you, Lourdes. All
Okay,
right?
thank you.
I'm going to share the link with you. No, no worries. Great. It's good that you let me know that, Lourdes. Great. So let's work. Again, also, please, Sharai, Whitney, Melissa, the essays were already corrected. They are scored, and you have all the comments and everything you need to know there. Please let me know if you can see, all right, the comments. Because, for example, Lourdes now is telling me that she can see the score, but she's not able to see the comments that I made in the essay itself, because you know that I write comments all along your essays, right? So please, in case you are not able to see the comments that I wrote, let me know, because you know it's not only the private comments. No, that's only one thing. The private comment is something else. I'm talking about the comments that I write all over your essay. This has to be a comma, or this has to be a period instead, or this is a transition word. You should use this, that, right? Those kind of comments. Please, you can do that by the end of the class. When you finish writing your examples here, you can check on Google Classroom if you were able to see the comments, okay? In the meantime, what I would like you to do, as Lourdes is going to do right now, I think that all of you wrote the examples over here, right? If you believe that that's the one that you're going to be working with, it's okay. I think that all of them worked, right? Sharai's introduction, right? Sentence works very good. Melissa's as well, Whitney as well, but take into account the little advice that I was giving you, right? Related to, for example, don't talk about topics that are going to be hard to support, right? Be sure that you have evidence. Also, try to mention like more things so that you can have more things to talk about in your body paragraphs. Okay, so most of you are already with the first part done. So with you, we're going to go again to the second one. I saw that you don't have the second one ready. So we're going to repeat this part to review this again to be sure that you have this okay. So please, Melissa, you're going to help me with this part. Read all the information you have here, please.
Okay, teacher. Next step 2, give background information. Next, give your reader the context they need to understand your topic and argument. Depending on the subject of your essay, this might include historical, geographical, or social context, an outline of the debate you're addressing, a summary of relevant theories or research about the topic, definition of key terms. Don't give too much detail. You can mention points that you will return to later, but save your evidence and interpretation to the main body of the essay. How much space you need for background depends on your topic and the scope of your essay.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Melissa. So we already read this, but we're doing it again to be sure that you know what to do. So let's work on this, please, Sharai, Whitney, Melissa. I think you have your first sentence already. You have the first step, right? The hook. So what you need now is the background information. Remember that you have options, right? You have to write these right now, please. You can talk about the context, social context, right? Geographical context. I think social context is more related to what you're saying here. Outline, right? I was saying this, for example, to Sharai, right? And some of you, you can mention the outline. It means you can briefly say what you're going to talk about, right? In this essay, we're going to write, I don't know, discuss this, right? The connection between classical music and, I don't know, focusing. The link, right, between, I don't know, modern music and our mood, and so on and so forth, right? At least two things would be enough, because right now, and for this essay, we're only going to work with 2 paragraphs because of the number of words we have as a limit, okay? And that's it. And I was saying to Melissa, if I'm not remember wrong, that she can mention a key term, right? For example, productivity, but that's also optional. If you believe that social context is better for this second step, do it, okay? But you have many options. If you don't have any questions, please, let's start working. Remember that this is a second sentence, only one sentence, but you have the chance of writing up to 2 sentences or 3 as maximum, but that's too much. All right, from 1 to 2 sentences, it's going to be more than enough. Let's work on that, please.
Teacher, I did the homework and I did the background.
Okay, you have it. Let me check, please, then with me. All right, do you have it in the document?
Yes.
Okay.
I did in my notebook, but I copied
Okay.
it.
Very good. Very good. So let's read, please, with me. Let's read your information, everything you have so far.
Okay, the Egyptians could find the answer about what happened after life. Many cultures and religions have tried to answer this question for hundreds of years.
Okay, good. Only one thing, on the first part, you have to be sure if you want to write that as a question or as a statement. Most people, in most cases, they believe that this introductory, the hook, has to be like a sentence, or write a statement. I'm not going to say that it's incorrect if you write it as a question, but you have to check 2 things here with me. If you're going to write this as a question, you have to use question order, all right? And you don't need a period after the question mark, right? So you can say, could the Egyptians find the answer, right, about what happens or to what happens after life, right? So my only advice is the order, the organization of your idea, and not using the period that you have over there. But again, you have those 2 options. I don't know if you have questions related to that, Whitney. Let me know.
And no, teacher.
Okay, good, very good. Also, no, I think it's good. The context, the second sentence giving context is very good. It's very simple and it goes straight to the point, and it's great over there. All right, good. No observations there then with me. So please, the rest of you try to work with this second part, and we're going to do this. We're going to be using colors this time, and I'm going to ask you to do the same for this third essay. So I'm going to use yours as example, please, Whitney, now that you have both. So the first one, more than colors, we're going to be using actually the highlighter. All right, the highlighter. So for the first one, let's try to use one like kind of yellow, all right, but a soft yellow so that we can read the words that we have over there. And for the second part, try to use, I don't know, write any color. I'm making this up, kind of green, something like this, okay? Let's try to do the same, please, when you have your ideas ready, so that it's easier to understand and it's easier to know that you are using all the steps that we have to. Okay, so again, please, as I told you, you can start working on this. You can give me a short context, a short background. You don't need to do research right now if you don't want to. Just use your logic or use your common sense, right? Or even the knowledge that you already have. Okay, for example, if you know something about productivity or the relationship between productivity and how employees are happier, right? And when they are happier, the productivity, right, is better. You can give examples, right? A good context can be an example or describing the situation of a real company in which you work or a company that you know. Okay, that's an option that you have. Okay, don't worry. So some of you were not right able to hear everything. So I'm going to repeat for you once again. Again, if you go to Classroom, remember that we have all the presentations here. You can open the presentation that is called Introduction, and you can follow me, okay? So that you can go back in case you need it. What we're doing is first, you need to have the first sentence, right? Remember, for example, Mariana, I was telling you that when you start an idea with how, with what, with why, it's not a complete sentence, right? It's a phrase. And this can be like a title, right? Or a subtitle, but it's not a sentence. So be sure that first you have one complete idea, right? One complete sentence or one complete idea that is the hook. You have to say something attractive for the reader to continue reading. Okay, that's the first thing. Most of you did it. That's why I skipped this part, and actually I only worked this with Lourdes. But after that, work on the second step. And actually, we all also read this on the previous class. Background. On the second sentence or the second complete idea, that can be one sentence, maximum two sentences, you have to give me background, context on what you're saying. You can give me the outline, all right, that you're going to be using for your essay. So you can say in this essay, we're going to talk about this and that. Or the other option is to give me definitions of key terms. Only if you believe that the words are very particular, all right, and that are used in specific fields, you can give me definition of key terms. If not, it's advisable to work with background, social context, all right? So that is the second part. And at the end, you should have something as, for example, Whitney. As you can see, it can be something simple as this. The hook can be a statement, all right? I always advise to be this a statement. If you write this as a question, it's not bad. You have the hook, and second, you have a short background. For example, Whitney said, many cultures, right, and religions have tried to answer these questions for hundreds of years. So this is a context. Why? Because I know that this is a very important question, right? Because many cultures, many religions, right, many sects have, right, tried to answer this important question. So this is the hook, and this is the background information. That is what you all need, please, to do. Ariana, Luciana, and the ones that are missing here. All right, I'm going to give you more ideas, for example, for the context. Remember that you can say things like, many studies, right, have shown the connection between this and that, and the results have been very positive. Or you can say that nowadays, right, many countries are implementing, right, or applying this kind of theories, and we see that they have, I don't know, right, um, I don't know, good effects on the companies or good effects on the schools, something like that. So you can give context in many ways. Okay, you can mention that some studies, some research have been successful. All right, you can mention that many countries or the world in general is taking that knowledge into account. You can mention whatever you want that is related to your topic, right? And that is explaining a little bit more about the context. You can also talk about the pandemic if you want, right? You can say that because of the pandemic, we are very stressed out, right? Or we are stressed out. And it's very important to be healthy, right? In terms of our emotions and feelings. And that's why it's really important to look for ways to feel better, to relax. That can be something related to music if you want, or that can be something related to the companies to be happy, right? Or anything, all right, that is related to what you're saying. Anything that serves as a background, as a context, right? Or as information that expands your ideas. All right, and just in case, on my screen you have the example that we were reading yesterday. This is the example of an introduction, and remember that the first part that is in blue is the hook. The second part that is in purple is the background information, or it can be as well the outline or whatever you want, right? Let's read please yours, Melissa. It looks very interesting. Perhaps it's also going to help some of your partners to keep working. Let's read everything, please, Melissa, also the background information.
With background information, do you mean the first sentence?
No, everything. No, but I mean the first one that is the hook, and the second sentence that I'm calling it background information, but there you can work key terms and so on, right? But we call the second sentence or the second idea background information. So let's read the hook and the background information, please.
Okay, sorry. Some companies showed us that productivity can be improved if employees are happier. Productivity is a concept that has evolved during time, but it always has a main goal, that companies are able to do more, to do it better, faster, and in a cheaper way.
Good, good. Only that thing that is over there, right? Just one little punctuation thing, and there. Why do we use over instead of during? During is more for things like I was eating during the meeting, all right, something like that during the meeting. So the duration of that thing was only during that specific, all right, that specific period of time. But we don't use during with time because time is too big, too broad. Instead of that, we use over, and it means that it happened, all right, during or over in this case, right, over a very big period of time. That is not specific, all right? So if it's not a specific, it's better to use over instead of during. And during is going to be more related to specific things like during the meeting, during the week, and so on, okay? And the second thing is, it's great, you have colon over there. So you have, right, to do more, the first item, do it better, the second item, faster, and in a cheaper way. So the last part is part of a second list of items. So you have better, first item, faster, second item, and cheaper is the third one. So we have to use a comma before and, all right, just that one. And that's going to be it, all right, in a cheaper way. There you go. But afterwards, all right, and after those details, I think it's great. It's a very, very good way of showing that key terms. It works perfectly. I don't know if you have questions so far, Melissa, let me know, please.
I would use a comma every time that there is and then other item.
No, every time there is and you have more than two items, okay?
Oh.
If you only have two items, don't use a comma before and, all right? For example, here you have better, faster, and cheaper, in other words, right? So we need to use a comma because you have more than two items. But if you only have two items, there is no need to use a comma, okay? Two or more items, you have to use a comma, not only before and, but also before or, because a list of items can be with or, right? I'm not sure if I'm going to do this, that, comma, or that, okay? So more than two items and or are going to have a comma before it. Any other comments or questions? Let me know, please,
No, teacher. I think
okay,
it's
good.
clear.
Very good, great, and it's going great. I think this is a very good start, Melissa. It's working very good. Let's go now with you. I don't know if you're ready. Keep working. You're going to let me know, please, when you are kind of ready. Sharaí, are you ready up to that part? Are you going to keep adding information? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, I didn't finish. I just thinking about what else I can.
Okay,
add.
perfect. Go ahead, please continue. Okay, great. I'm going to ask now this to you, Lourdes, the same. Are you ready? Let me know, please, when you're ready so that we can work little by little.
Yes, I think that it's okay.
Very good. Let's read it. Let's see, and we're going to work together in case something is missing.
Okay, I read everything or just the second part?
Yes, everything, please, so that we see the connection between the first part and the second part.
Okay, marketing, it was wrong. Digital marketing has become more and more important for business in the last years. Nowadays, with the pandemic, it's essential to have a digital marketing strategy to be successful in the market. Because if your business doesn't use social media or web pages, practically it doesn't exist.
Very good. Now, please, you're going to let me know. I received the little message again that my connection is not working very good. Please, you're going to cut me off, all right, Lourdes, if you cannot understand what I'm saying because of the lag or something like that, okay? So let's begin. I think, all right, I think that the first part is working very good. That's a very good hook, all right? Here, they want to give you, or they are asking, for example, to use that quantifier in the last few years. In the last years, actually, is not incorrect, okay? They want you only to be more precise because years is very broad, right? How many years? In the last years can be, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years, or in the last years can be 10 years, 20 years. That's why they ask you to be more precise in using a number or using a quantifier. So if you want, you can follow that advice, Lourdes, and change that to in the last few years, or you can be more precise and say in the last 20 years, right? Or in the last decade. In that way, you're not going to have any problems or any corrections, right? In that term. That's the only thing I want to clarify over there. Afterwards, again, this is a great hook. Just see what you can do at the end to be more precise. The second part is working very, very good. That because, right? Because if, as you're using because, actually in the first part is good that you use that, it's a new idea, right? So you have a comma in the second part of it, because. But if you have that if, actually we don't need a comma, because that because, all right, it's already connected to that idea. So we don't need that comma before if. It's enough with because if, all right? Because if your business, right, doesn't use social media or web pages, comma, now, if we are not using practically as an adverb for all the information you have there, and if you don't have a lot of information, it's better not to place the adverb, all right, at the beginning of your idea. You can say, it practically doesn't exist. Okay, it's going to work in a better way. We only use that practically and adverbs with ly at the beginning when we are using that information for a very long sentence. Okay, so that would be my only thing, Lourdes. First, the comma after because, I think we don't need it because it's connected in the same idea, and place that practically after the subject, and see if you can add a number or a quantifier between last and years. I don't know if you have any questions, because after that, I think the ideas are very well connected, Lourdes. Any questions or comments? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, everything is clear.
Great, thank you. Now, let's go with I think now that you have it ready, I'm going to go with you now, Sharai. Let's read everything until that period, please.
Okay, teacher. Scientists discovered how music affects our mood or helped us to focus while we were studying for an important test. Although a lot of people don't like to listen to music while they are doing something, the truth is that music helps us, either if we are studying for a big test or keep motivating when we are exercising at the gym.
Okay, good. I think there's only one little thing, but again, I think that addition, all right, is given like more strength, all right, to that first part. It looks very good. Again, I'm making some suggestions, but of course they can be taken into account or not. But I think in this way is working very good, Sharai. The punctuation that we are using is also very good. Just in the last part, in the last big idea that we have, it says, right, either, right, if we have, or sorry, if we are studying for a test, or when we have that or, we have to, or we need something that gives us the idea that we are still talking about the previous, right, the previous idea. So we say if we are studying, and then in the second part, we're using simple present, or keep motivated. But that keep motivated is like, it cannot be conjugated like that, at least with that idea of either. So I think we have two options to make this even better. We can use perhaps a comma over here, or to keep ourselves, right, motivated when we are exercising at the gym. That's one option, all right, comma, or to keep ourselves motivated, and we use in that way, or we can keep ourselves motivated. We use an entire idea, all right, or we can keep ourselves motivated. In that way, we have, again, the subject. Why? Because we are using a different conjugation with the verb. Because in the first part, you're using present continuous. And in the second part, you're using simple present, all right? When we have this case, it's important to separate perhaps the two ideas. It doesn't matter if it's the same subject. It's better to separate the two ideas and have the first one in the present continuous and the second one in the simple present. That's my only observation over there, Sharai. I don't know if you have questions or comments related to that. Let me know, please.
No, teacher, it's clear. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Again, it's very good, just that one, because of that little detail. Great. I think it's working very good so far. It's great what you're doing. Let's finish this up with what you have up there, please. Mariana, let's read the information you have up to that semicolon. Are you there, Mariana? All right. In the meantime, again, I think we're having problems with connection, but you're going to listen to this later, Mariana. I think this is a great introduction, all right? It's believed that dogs can change the way you see life. That's very strong, all right? And that's very catchy. And of course, it's something that is going to produce, all right, some readers to be interested in reading what you're saying. I think that hook is very, very good, all right? It's believed. Also, that's very formal. That passive way in mentioning or introducing ideas, it's very, very formal. It's believed, it's stated, it's thought, all right? That's great. And also the context, because it's an interesting context, right? In many cultures, right, the people believed that dogs are the best friend of the humans, right? The only thing I would add over here, Mariana, would be a comma over here, all right? In many cultures, comma, the people, perhaps we don't need this idea of the people, all right? Unless you're talking about like an entire group that talks about ethnicity. But if you're not referring to that, it's only people. In many cultures, people believed that dogs, right? Yes, we're using past and we can mix this with present, so it's good that dogs are, right? Yes, the best man, the best friend of the humans, or the humans' best friend, right? You can have it that way. But so far, I think we're doing it good, Mariana. It's working great, all right? And this is a good context. A short one, but it's working good. Just try to check that idea, all right? Are, right, the humans' best friends or humans' best friends. See which one is going to work better according to your context and your sentence. Great. Now we can go to the next part. Please, we're going to read the last step because actually we're about to finish the introduction. Please, Whitney, you're going to help me reading all this information. Step 3.
Okay, present your thesis statement. Now it is time to narrow your focus and show exactly what you want to say about the topic. This is your thesis statement, a sentence or two that sum up your overall argument. This is the most important sentence in your introduction. A good thesis isn't just a statement of fact, but a claim that requires evidence and explanation. The goal is to clearly convey your own position in a debate or your central point about the topic.
Thank you very much, Whitney. So again, this is the last step, and this is the most important step. Something that I want you to take into account. Here, we're going to work with a thesis statement. All right. Again, we have the option of working with questions, but for this particular argumentative essay, we're going to work with a statement. All right. Not a question, but a statement. The second thing that I want you to take into account in the last part, the goal is to clearly convey your own position. All right. It means that it's something that you believe actually. But of course, it's not anything that you believe, right? I believe that it was like that. No, it's something that you believe, but you have evidence to prove that, right? You have something to show us, to convince us, right? To persuade us. So it's something that you believe, but that is based on evidence. Now, how do we work this? If we go back to your examples, this can be, I'm going to do this with Sharai. This is just example, right? Sharai, example. you can use now this color over here so that we have it kind of purple, something like that. All right, let's use that color for the last one. So for the thesis statement, what is the thesis statement? For example, if Sharai is talking about music, right, and how music affects, right, our mood, and it helps us, right, to focus and so on, she has to say something about music and that benefits, right? Therefore, or for everything that I mentioned above, comma, I strongly believe that, that's one way, right? I strongly believe that, I don't know, we should teach music, something like that, in all schools, right? Because that's going to help our children, right, to be better focused and to be in a good mood every time they are in class or learning something. Or Shari can say something like, that's why I believe that we should play classical music in class, right, as a background music, because that's going to help students to be better concentrated and so on and so forth and blah, blah, blah. So it has to be very specific, okay? You have to tell me something that is very specific and it's related, of course, to the topic that you're talking about. In the case, right, of digital marketing, let's say with Lourdes, right, digital marketing here, important for business. Okay, so also she's mentioning the pandemic and strategies. All right, so we have that idea. What is a good thing for a thesis statement over here? Again, something related to digital marketing and business, right, in general. Again, I'm going to use the same idea, but try to think of your own ways of saying that statement, right? Therefore, it is really important, right? I'm not saying now I strongly believe, but I'm saying, therefore, it's really important, it's vital, it's crucial, right? It's crucial that digital marketing, right, is applied or implemented into every business that we have right here. And I don't know how, right? But you can give an idea related to that. Or you can say that that's why, right, we should start a campaign to, I don't know, right, to show local businesses that it's really important to start working with digital marketing in order to improve, right, I don't know, right, the local market that we have. And that's going to help the city in general, right? That's a second idea. Of course, I'm making up my ideas. I don't know about these topics. You know about those topics. So try to give important and interesting ideas that you can support later on. All right. In the case, again, if you have some ideas, start working. All right. Start working, please. You can start writing. I'm going to keep making some comments. Start working and start writing on your thesis statement. I'm expecting you to write at least one complete idea. Okay, one complete idea. You can write up to 2 complete sentences if you want, but actually it's too much. One complete idea with extra information, with extra phrases or additional phrases could be okay. Okay, more than enough. That's what I'm expecting, right? But if you believe that you need 2 sentences at least, do it. But again, in a certain way, it's going to be too much. Now, if I go to Melissa, right, my thesis statement can be something like that, right? That's why we should, I don't know, hire, you can say, right? That's why it's going to be very important to hire a professional that is going to analyze, right, the company's, right, organization to see if employees are happier or not, right, to improve or to increase the productivity. That's one idea that came to my mind. Or she can say something like, that's why it's important to take into account the employees' emotions and feelings. Because if we pay attention to what they are feeling or what they really want in terms of emotions, we can be sure that they are going to be, or they are going to work better, right? Something like that. So it can be something that is specific related to your main idea. In your case, Mariana, it could be, again, you're talking about dogs and how important they are in our lives. So you can talk about, for example, how you can work on campaigns, all right? You can work on campaigns to try to teach, right, people in general the importance of having pets or to adopt a specific pet or a dog in this case, right? Because you're talking about dogs, not pets, a dog. And you can say, right? That's why I believe that it's important that every family has, all right, at least one pet or one dog, because it's going to help that family in this way, in this other way, etc., etc. Okay, or you can say that's why it's important to take care of our dogs or dogs in general. And you can plan something for stray dogs, right, that are on the street, and give more ideas like that, Mariana. And finally, right, in your case, Whitney, you can do almost the same, showing, I don't know, that's why it's important, it's very important to learn about the Egyptians. And why, right? Because in that way, we're going to be able to know many of those things that nowadays result kind of a mystery, all right? That's one thing. Or you can say that's why it's important to learn about antique cultures, because right in that way we're going to be more informed, we're going to be better informed in the sense that we know more about life in general, and so on and so forth. All right, so try to give ideas like that. Again, I was making comments. You can write now your idea, please. Give me a thesis statement related to your topics, all right, related to your topics. Let's do that, please. All right. As some transition phrases or some words, you can say, right? You're using those already. Thus, therefore, as a result, or you can say, because of everything I mentioned above, right? Or something like that. It doesn't have to be that strong. Don't write here like finally, okay? Finally, it's going to be too strong for this part. Say finally for the conclusion, all right? For the last part of your essay. Don't write finally here. It's better if you work with other transitional words and phrases that are not finally or to conclude, all right? Don't use those ones. They are very, very strong. It's better to save those for the final part of your essay, okay? Just that recommendation, please. Okay, and just in case what you're doing now, it's like, I mean, the first part, right? After you write your body paragraphs and after you write your conclusion, you can see that perhaps your essay was not about the thesis you were talking about. If after writing your body paragraph, right, or your body paragraphs, right, better said, you realize that actually the focus of your essay is different, you can change the thesis statement, right? So it's not to close your minds, right, and say that my thesis statement is only going to be about that. This is the first idea, and it can change, all right? It can change. So don't be afraid of working just like that, things that come to your mind at first. Later on, while writing the rest of the essay, you're going to be making some changes if they are needed. Okay, that's a good way of working with the essay. So I'm going to start with you, Lourdes. Let's read, please. Again, I'm going to ask you to read everything from the first part, the hook, up to the last part, the thesis statement, please.
Okay. Digital marketing has become more and more important for business in the last few years. Nowadays, with the pandemic, it's essential to have a digital marketing strategy to be successful in the market. Because if your business doesn't use social media or web pages, it practically doesn't exist. Thus, it is crucial that every kind of business could have a digital marketing strategy if they want to survive the pandemic, even the small business.
Good, very good. All right. Only one thing that I would tell you to analyze, all right? Just consider this, because if you keep it that way, it's still good. The only word is could. If we say could, it's like only possibility, all right? Possibility. And it's not, you are like taking away the strength that your thesis statement needs, all right? So your thesis statement needs to be very strong, very sure, all right? You need to be certain because you need to persuade, right, the reader that you are right. So if you say could, again, it's not incorrect, but it's taking away a little bit of that strength. You can say something more certain by using only perhaps simple present or a different model that is going to show that you are very sure of what you're saying. Okay, only that one, Lourdes. I don't know if you have any questions related to that.
No, teacher, everything is clear, and I wanted to ask you for the poll today because it's almost time
Okay,
to go, and I don't
of
want to
course.
interrupt the rest of my classmates.
Yep, don't worry. I'm sending that right now. There you go, Lourdes.
Okay, teacher, thank you. I will stay some minutes more, and then I will go.
Very, very good. Oh, it's okay, Lourdes. And again, please, I cannot say you right now the link, all right? But please remind me, send me a message, please, all right, to WhatsApp, so that when I finish this class or when I finish the other class as well, I send you the link to your WhatsApp if it's possible, so that you can check the comments. Okay?
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Perfect. You're welcome. All right, so I have this once again. And Melissa, let's go with you now, please. Again, I'm going to ask you to please read everything to see how everything is working together.
Okay, teacher. Some companies showed us that productivity can be improved if employees are happier. Productivity is a concept that has evolved over time, but it always has a main goal that companies are able to do more, to do it better, faster, and in a cheaper way. To accomplish this, of course, companies have to do many things, and one of the most important ones is to keep employees happy, since they are the main characters of every company.
Great, very good, very good. I think it's working again in a great way. Even though we have those two commas over there, it's working very good here because it's understandable which one is part of a second idea with the fanboy and the last part, right? It's like explanation in terms of effect, right? Since they are the main characters. So I have no observations over here. Melissa, I don't know if you have any questions. Only one thing that is not like that's important, but in the part when you say of course, if you realize that of course when we speak is like very normal, but when we write of course is considered an interrupter. So if we consider that as an interrupter, because of course is not the subject of your sentence, that is companies, right? It's better to set of course in between two commas. If you say of course like that, again, it's not like a mistake, but if you set of course in between two commas, it's like very good, all right? It's the best thing you can do. The only thing there, Melissa, I don't know if you have any questions. Let me know, please.
Yes, I was thinking about adding a comma after, of course, but the same with my first essay. I think I use a lot of commas, and I don't know how to stop doing that, or when I can use other punctuation sign or something like that, because
Good.
I think I do that a lot, and I don't want it to add another one.
Yes. So let me help you. If you do this very quickly, look, right now, this amount of commas, it's kind of okay. All right. But if you want to avoid that one, if you follow my advice and you add a comma over here, you know that another comma before and is going to be too much. So now you need to follow the logic. Remember the semicolon, it says in the fourth or the second element that if you have complex ideas and you have a fanboy, you better change that to a semicolon. All right, so you can do that. And now that you have this, and one of the most important ones, and this is not because this is a new idea, no, it's part of the same big idea, but it's a semicolon just because of the punctuation rules. And this last part, it's okay with a comma, but remember that you have a second option. What can you use if you want to avoid using too many commas? Instead of a comma for a clarification or a last detail, you can also use a dash, right? M dash. So when you do that, you're going to avoid using too many commas. But in this case, you are using a semicolon over here. It's also not a mistake to use a comma over here. All right. So it's just try to fit, all right, all the ideas that you have. Again, this was one advice, but if you apply this advice adding a comma here for extra information or interrupter, it will be a good idea now to change this to semicolon. And this can be a comma because now that you have a semicolon, you are allowed to use more commas because it's okay. And this is since, so it means that it's not a complete idea. It's like part of the previous idea. Only if you want to avoid doing that, sometimes and many times you can replace the comma by an M dash. And that's the only thing that I can tell you to avoid that, Melissa. I don't know if it helps a little bit or if you have any more questions.
Yes, teacher. Thank you so much. That was
Okay.
my only doubt.
Good, good, very good. Thank you for asking, Melissa. Yes, it's very like confusing at the beginning when we work with English because you know we use a lot of commas in Spanish. Good, that's great. Up to that part, I think we're working this very good. I work with all of you now. Sharei, let's go to yours, please.
Okay, I have to read all.
Yes, please, Sharei. All of your paragraph, please.
Scientists discovered how music affects our mood or helps us to focus while we are studying for an important test. Although a lot of people don't like to listen to music while they are doing something, the truth is that music helps us, either if we are studying for a big test or keep ourselves motivated when we are exercising at the gym. Therefore, the possibility of playing classical music during a test or in the development of classes might be considered because of the positive results that scientists made on their studies.
Good, thank you, Sharai. Now, again, some little things only in terms of how strong your sentence or your idea is going to be. Remember that the goal of this kind of essay, the argumentative essay, is that in a certain way you need to persuade someone, right, to believe in what you're saying, and you actually need to believe this like a lot because you need to be convinced that everything that you're saying is correct because you have the evidence to prove that, right? So following that logic, it's only one thing related to this certainty, as I was saying to Lourdes, right? So when you say, for example, therefore the possibility of playing classical music, right, during a test or in the development of classes might be considered, right? When you say might, it's okay. Again, it's not a mistake, and again, this is a suggestion, but it loses a little bit of that strength. It's not that strong because when you say might, you are not like that certain of what you're saying, right? Because we know that we use might and may when you are very, very unsure of what we say. Okay, so if you want to avoid that, as I was saying this to Lourdes, try to change that might to something that is more like certain. Even as I was mentioning this again, you can use, for example, the simple present, and you can say something like development of classes has to be, perhaps, all right, has to be considered because that's stronger, or must be considered, right? That has to and that must is stronger, and you're showing that you are sure that what you're saying is going to have good results, right? Because of the positive results that scientists made on their studies. That's it. That's my only thing. And again, in this part, right, on or keep ourselves, try to rethink that idea and try to add like a complete idea after that, or because of the tense. That's the only thing, Sharai. I don't know if you have comments or questions related to that. Let me know, please.
No, teacher, it's clear. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Whitney, let's finish this up with you, please.
Okay. Could the Egyptian find the answer about what happened after life? Many cultures and religions have tried to answer this question for hundreds of years. Ancient culture proposed many beliefs that in actually are true, like astronomy. Recent research saw other beliefs of Egyptians that should be considered, like what they believe about afterlife, and if there are similarities with other Asian cultures that give us a possible answer.
Okay, thank you. Now let's analyze. It seems at least like the first part, when you say ancient cultures proposed many beliefs, right, that in actuality, that currently perhaps, right, that currently are true in like astronomy, that is not part of your thesis statement actually. If you realize, that is part of your background information, because you're still saying things that help us understand the context. That's not something that you believe. That's actually some facts that you're showing, right? So if you're showing those facts, then it means that they are not your thesis statement. It means that they are your background information, all right? So they are still part of this first part, and it's good because it's good that you have more background. It's not a mistake. Now it's composed of two sentences, and it's correct. The only thing that I would do here to make this clear is to use here a semicolon, and here you can use a period, so that you're both, all right, both, let's call them a background, all right, both sentences that are the background information are better connected with a semicolon, and then you have a period, right, indicated that that was the last part of your background. Now, after that, you have recent researches or research sometimes, because research most of the time is going to be considered as abstract, all right? So you can say recent research shows, right? If you're going to change that to abstract, recent research show other beliefs of Egyptians, sorry, that should be considered like what they believe about afterlife. Okay, now in that case, actually, also something happens. And what is that thing that happens? Is that your thesis statement is over there, but it's not that strong, and it's not showing what your position really is. So you say, right, recent researches or research, that's actually still part of the background information. So you can have that as a complete sentence, a third complete sentence if you want, or you can connect these two ideas, the astronomy and recent research. All right, you can connect those two ideas with and if you want. And recent research, right, shows that blah, 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 blah. And then a period. Why? Because after showing very clearly what is the background of your information, that I think it's up to that last part, the Egyptians are right, what things should be considered, then you're going to say your thesis statement in a stronger way. All right. For example, I think that your thesis statement is that the knowledge that Egyptians had or have, right, or in this case had, should be considered or must be considered like or as what they believe about afterlife, and if there are similarities with other cultures and so on. So for me, this is your thesis statement from this part with me. And of course, you can add extra information, but again, this part of recent research would be part of the background information still. So what I'm going to ask you is try to connect this last idea of what this recent research shows us. And after that, you can state your thesis statement in a clearer way. I don't know if you have questions related to that, Whitney. Let me know, please.
So the second part is necessary, right?
The second part, no, it's part of this, and it's going to be like extra. Okay, so you can keep that there. The only thing that it's important to do is to connect the part of astronomy with the things that the research has found. So connect those two ideas into one, and that's still going to be part of the background. Finally, set a period, and after that period, tell me clearly what your thesis statement is. As for example, that's why, right? And that's why I believe that Egyptians, right, or that the Egyptian culture should be considered, right, in general nowadays, because we're going to learn about this and that, okay? But it has to go after you connect this idea, all right, of what recent research is showing us. And you give your complete thesis statement, and you can give this as a complement to your thesis statement. So it's not incorrect. It can be there, but only as complement with me. I don't know if you have more questions or comments. Let me know, please.
No, teacher.
Okay, good, perfect, thank you. Now, I think we're ready with that. We're working in a good way. Now we're going to go to the last part, which is not something you need to write. It says only check and revise. This is what I was telling you, right? At the end, you can change what you're saying on your first ideas, right, in the introduction. But this is going to be to illustrate what you have to do. So please, Sharai, you're going to help me with this. Let's read the first 2 points that we have in this last step. After this part, please.
Step 4, check and revise. As you research and write, your argument might change focus or direction as you learn more. For this reason, it's often a good idea to wait until later in the writing process before you write the introduction. The introduction paragraph, sorry. It can even be the very last thing you write.
Thank you very much. So this is interesting, right? Some people write the introduction like the last thing, right, in the essay as the last thing. Here we're doing this because we're following this sequence, right? Introduction, body paragraph, and conclusion. But at least what you can do with this information is that you are going to check and revise your introductions after you finish writing your essays. And in that way, you're going to see what you need to modify on your thesis statement and perhaps in the overall ideas that you wrote right at the beginning. But let's follow that one instead of this. But if when you write your essays, if you believe it's a good idea to write the introduction at the very end, do it. All right, that's up to you. Here we're doing this because we need to follow the sequence, right, of introduction, body paragraph, and conclusion. Now the next two, please, is going to be for you, Melissa. Let's read the last 2 points that we have over here.
Okay, when you finish writing the essay body and conclusion, you should return to the introduction and check that it matches the content of the essay. It's especially important to make sure your thesis statement accurately represents what you do in the essay. If your argument has gone in a different direction than planned, tweak your thesis statement to match what you actually say.
Great, thank you, Melissa. Right, in summary, it's everything I was telling to you. It's important to revise and check this introduction after you have everything done, right? The entire essay done. That's it, okay? That's it for the introduction. Because of time, I want to be sure that at least we know what we need for the body paragraph, because this is actually going to be, again, like an assignment. Here, we're going to see what we need. We're going to read or to write at least the first sentence or the first couple of sentences, but the rest of it, because you need to do some research, is going to be for you to work or write, outside the classroom, right? Let's say quotation marks. So let's go to the next presentation, that is body, sorry, there you go, body paragraphs. And this is it. We have more steps here. And of course, it's going to be kind of hard to follow these in just one class. That's why we're going to do what I was telling you. So please, step 1 is going to be for you, Whitney. Let's read step 1 of body paragraphs.
Okay, insert a topic sentence. It encapsulates and organizes an entire paragraph. Although topic sentence may appear anywhere in a paragraph, in academic essays they often appear at the beginning when creating a topic sentence. Ask yourself what's going on in your paragraph. Why have you chosen to include the information you have? Why is the paragraph important in the context of your argument or thesis statement? What point are you trying to make?
Thank you, Whitney. So this is the first sentence, all right? Even though you need that many connectors, all right? You don't need that many connectors or transitional words and phrases to start this. I'm going to ask you to please use the sequential transitional words that we learned. Remember, first of all, to begin with, initially. So use one transitional word that is a sequential transitional word or phrase to begin all your topic, more than the topic sentences, all your body paragraphs, all right? In this case, 2. That's my first thing. So please, let's try to work this here actually. What is a body paragraph? I'm going to show you the first part. If you're talking about this and you're, for example, Sharai says, right, the possibility of playing classical music during a test, right, and the rest of the idea. What could be a good body paragraph to start with? I don't know, we have many options. One body paragraph can talk about the benefits of classical music, right, and show evidence that classical music is good for, I don't know, focusing, good for improving the mood, etc. That can be one body paragraph. So it means that the topic sentence is going to be the benefits of classical music. So it can be something like, first of all, right, if you use, for example, it's very important, it's crucial, don't repeat that. If you didn't use it, you can say, it's very important to know about the benefits of classical music and the connection that it has with, I don't know, right, with good results in tests according to some evidence. And that's it. That's your topic sentence, because you are telling me what you're going to talk about on that paragraph. All right. If the next example with Lourdes, all right, it says it's crucial, right, that every business have a digital marketing strategy. So what could it be? The first topic sentence or the first body paragraph for Lourdes, it can be the strategies, the types of strategies we have, right? To know which strategy, first of all, to know which strategy is better, right, for our business, it's important to know what are the types that we have. And that's the first body paragraph that Lourdes is going to talk about. And like that, Melissa, you can do something like it says, right? Productivity, you can improve that the employees, right, are the main characters of every company. So again, here, as you want to show evidence, you can also talk about the benefits or the advantages, right, of taking these elements into account, right? To begin with, I would like to talk about the advantages of paying attention to the employees' emotions and feelings. And that's it. I know that you're going to show me evidence, right, related to that. I'm just giving ideas. Try to think your own ideas after that. And then the thing that you're saying there, Whitney, you want to say that antique cultures, right, as the Egyptian ones, have to be considered, right? Or you can say have to be taught in schools because they teach us important knowledge about life in general. You can say something like that as your thesis statement, right? You can say that it's important that schools teach about the Egyptian culture because it has a lot of knowledge, important knowledge to transmit us. And if that's your thesis statement, then your first body paragraph can be about that, about the Egyptians itself, right? You can say something like, again, first of all, first, initially, to begin with, to start with, comma, it's important to know what are the most important, let's say, contributions, right, from Egyptians to humanity in general, right? You can give that broad idea because you want to show that knowing about the Egyptians' knowledge was very important or is very important. So you can talk about that on the first body paragraph, right? First of all, we need to know what are the best or the most important contributions, right, from the Egyptians to humanity in general or to culture. And that's it. And that's going to be your first body paragraph, okay? And it happens the same finally with you, Mariana. This is the last thing we're going to do. Then I'm going to give you what's going to, well, I'm going to tell you what's going to be the homework for Friday, and we're going to finish. But finally, Mariana, in your case, again, you're talking about dogs and the connection with humans, how they can change our lives, right? So you can talk about that, right? You can talk about, again, a very, very well and good thing that you can do is talking about advantages, benefits. That's very usual. You can talk about that. You can talk about why, right? Why is there such a good connection between humans and dogs? And you have to show evidence, right? So you can say, first of all, I would like to show why, right, scientists have proven that there is a strong connection between human beings and dogs. Or you can make a list of benefits, right, or advantages. First, I would like to talk about the benefits of having a dog at home, or I want to talk about the advantages, etc., right? So that's going to be your first one. So let's work on that right now, please. You have to start a new paragraph. Again, I'm going to start this with Sharai. And this one is going to be this color. I'm writing an example just to give the color. And the body paragraph is going to start with this, let's say, kind of pink, orange, something like that. Okay, let's work on that, please. Only the first sentence. You need to tell me what you're going to talk about. Remember to use transitional words that are for sequence. First of all, first, initially, to start, and give me only one sentence in which you tell me what you're going to talk about on that body paragraph. Let's do it, please. That's the last thing we're going to do. Right? Some ideas in terms of vocabulary that you can use are, for example, it's important, it's very important, it's crucial, it's essential, right? You can say those things to start your idea, right? And you say, right, to know about the advantages, to know about the benefits, to know the connection between these and these, everything or anything that you want to talk about and show evidence, okay? It has to be well formulated, and remember, it has to be one complete idea. I'm saying a sentence, but remember, one complete idea, and that complete idea can have extra information, interrupters, clarifications at the end, because those are not complete sentences, right? Those are only extra phrases to give information to your big one idea, right? Take that into account. Okay, if you take a look at the example that I'm showing on the screen, you can see more or less, of course, I told you, right? It's not mandatory to use transitional words, right, in that academic essay, but we're going to do it because we're going to learn how to use those transitional words and phrases. And actually in international tests, they ask you to use transitions, all right, to connect your ideas better. But this is an example in the sense that it's showing us the purpose of this. It says, a common frustration for teachers is students' use, right, of Wikipedia as a source in their writing. That is the topic sentence. Why? Because by saying that, I know that this entire paragraph is going to be about students using Wikipedia, right? And of course, that is not good. That is one way. Okay, so try to state your idea, your topic sentence very well. It has to be clear for me. You don't need to give me extra information, all right? Don't add information that is not needed. Don't say things that are not going to help me understand what is going to be the main topic of that body paragraph, okay? If you're going to use extra information, use extra information that is related to that topic. Don't say things that are going to be irrelevant or unnecessary for make the reader understand, right, what you're going to talk about. That is very important. Go straight to the point. Okay, go straight to the point. So you mentioned what is important. If you're going to mention the benefits, mention those benefits. But remember, this is only the first sentence, like the introduction, the short introduction to your entire body paragraph. All right, let's begin with your idea, please. Melissa, I think you have an introduction for that body paragraph. Ready? Let's read it, please.
Okay, to begin with, employees will work harder, faster, and more effectively if they are in a good mood with low levels of stress and if they feel that they are appreciated in their workplace.
Great. Thank you very much, Melissa. Again, sometimes it's unavoidable to use, right, a lot of commas. We can avoid using commas when we have the chance of doing it, right? When we have and, but that and is showing a different idea. You have a complete sentence, you have and a different sentence, and you have used commas before, then you can avoid using too many commas by using a semicolon to divide those two ideas. But in this case, for example, if you see, we don't have that opportunity. And again, I'm showing you that because your sentence is correct, and I think we're using the correct punctuation. We're using a lot of commas, but in this case, there is no way to avoid that. It says, right, to begin with, even we need more commas. Why? Because you say, right, employees will work harder, faster, and more effectively. Yeah, right. That is the third item, right? Harder, faster, and more effectively. So we have to use a comma over there. If they are in a good mood, with perhaps you can avoid this one because you only use with and a comma before if you believe that this is extra information. But as we're using too many commas over here, all right, instead of comma, because this seems to be either extra information or just like the object of what you're saying, all right? It depends. So if you want to avoid that, we can use perhaps dash, but let me read the rest of it, because so far it seems that they can be connected without a comma. So they are in a good mood with low levels of stress. Yes, you can avoid using that comma. Again, this comma gives me the idea that this can be extra, but if you do it this way, it's also going to be correct, and we're going to be avoiding the usage of those commas. Okay, and in this case, if you had a comma over here telling me that this is a second item instead of the characteristic of this good mood, make part of the good mood, not as a second thing, and this and is not going to be a third item. Instead, it's going to be only the second item, because it's going to be, if they are in a good mood with low levels of stress, one item, and if they feel that they are appreciated in their workplace, the second item. And as you have only two items, we don't need a comma to separate that idea. So in that way, we are avoiding the overusage of comma. I don't know if you have any questions or comments related to that, Melissa. Let me know, please.
No, teacher, it's clear.
Okay, good. Thank you. Now, again, I finished with this. I'm going to tell you, you're going to work on 2 steps by yourselves, all right, for Friday. Please, Sharai, let's go with your introduction.
Okay, first, science has demonstrated that listening to classical music it's helpful for concentration.
Okay, yes, it tells me, right, that that's going to be your first body paragraph about. Perhaps in the first part, we're kind of saying that, no, we're using different words, I think. Yes, we're using different words, and you are clarifying that is classical music in this case, right? Not only music like in the first part. So it works very good. I have no observations over there, Sharai. I don't know if you have questions before we go to the next part.
No, teacher, no questions.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And finally, would you please, Whitney, remember, Whitney, here we only need the introduction. This is the first step. Only one sentence, right, that has to tell me what you're going to talk about, right? The rest of it perhaps can be the rest of your idea, but I only need the introduction. Again, as for example, Melissa, right, and Sharai, I know by those sentences what the paragraph is going to be about. Also, as in the example here, right, it says, a common frustration is for teachers is students use, right, of Wikipedia as a source for their writing. That is more than enough. What is yours? What is your first and your topic sentence, Whitney?
Okay, okay. First of all, the contribution of Egyptians to society. When we want to understand something, we just to search on the web, but 1,000 years ago, there was not internet.
All right. Again, I know that in this case, it's going to be contribution of Egyptians, but it's not clear, but because after that, you're telling me something, doing research or looking up in the internet, right? But I think that is a different idea. Unless you want to tell me that one of the contributions of Egyptians is the way we look for information. If that is the case, then that information is like valid, and that information is like important. If not, it is going to be irrelevant. Why? Because I don't know if your topic is going to be about, right, the contribution of Egyptians to society, or if you're going to talk about how people used to look for information on the internet thousands of years ago, and how we look for information now, right? And those are two different things. Again, unless, Whitney, you tell me that the relationship is that Egyptians had a very good method for looking, right, for information and gathering information and so on, in that case is valid. If not, I think that we only need one sentence that tells me that you're going to talk about the contributions of Egyptians, and that's it, period. I don't know if you have questions or comments with me. Let me know.
No, teacher, I understand.
Okay, good. So let's work on that, please, with me. Try to rethink this. The first should only be one sentence. You can have extra information, but not that much extra information, because it has to be clear again what you're going to talk about. If you mention two different things, we are not going to know, right? If you're going to talk about one or the other one. That's it. Now, to finish, we're only going to read the next two steps because we are going to do this at home. This is optional, actually. What is optional? Explaining your topic sentence. If you believe, I'm going to read this because you don't have to do this. This is optional if you want. If you believe that your topic sentence was not very clear, then you can work on step two, right? Which is explaining your topic, right? Only if it requires extra information. You can say, I mean, we are going to talk about this. But what you're going to do is these two. Step 3, please. Let's read this very quickly. Sharai, please. Step number 3.
Okay. Introduce your evidence. When including evidence, make sure it is integrate smoothly into the text of the paper. Readers should be able to move from your words to your evidence without feeling a logical or mechanical hold. When introducing quotes, always. First, identify the sources, then summarize to provide context. Many terms may be used to introduce quoted material, asserts, believes, claims, comments, confirms, declares, defines, describes, explains, indicates, makes clear, propose, etc. However, these terms are not interchangeable. Make your choice based on your meaning.
Good. Thank you, Sharai. So this is your first assignment, okay? You have to do this. And actually, it's not what you think. Many people believe that introduce your evidence means that you have to copy and paste the quote, right? No. Introduce your evidence is that in your own words, you're going to tell me what article you're going to mention, what author you're going to mention by using one of these verbs. And that's it. Okay, you have to say something like, according to the BBC, right, on a previous study that they worked on, colon, right? Or you can say, they say that, and colon. That's it. Only until colon. That is introducing the evidence. Your words, okay? Your words to introduce the author, the article that you're going to talk about. It's not about the quote that you have to paste here. That's the next step, okay? Introduce the evidence is only your words to show what you're going to show. And finally, step 4, please, this is for you, Melissa. Let's read the step 4, please.
Okay, step 4, insert your evidence. Insert, drop in your supporting evidence. Often quotes, but again, evidence can also be in the form of personal example, facts, statistics, etc. You must use quotation marks to quote someone else's words.
Thank you. And now this is the evidence. Here you have to copy and paste the quote. And to understand this in a better way, just let me show you this. So in this part, okay, in this part, all you have here up to this part, this is introduce your evidence. So you can give me a context or something, and then you have to mention what article you're going to talk about, okay? This is introduce your evidence. Give me context and introduce the evidence. An article in The Guardian, right, stresses a common objection to its use. Common. That is introduce your evidence. And this is insert your evidence. You're going to use quotation marks to introduce, right, to copy and paste the exact words that you want to show me. And in parentheses, you're going to tell me the author, right, the author's last name and the year. That's it. Only this part. This is what I need you to do. Okay, this is what I need you to do. Do you have any questions? Let me know, please. This is for Friday. With this, we're finishing the class. No? All right. Then please work on that for Friday, only introducing the evidence and inserting the evidence, please. With that, we are more than ready. I'm trying to relaunch the poll. I hope it lets me. Please, if I have some problems, I'm going to go out again, because when I do this after one poll, it doesn't let me. Okay, give me again, please. Just 1 second. I'll be back. Okay, perfect. Thanks for waiting once again. I'm resending the poll. I always have that problem. When I send it once, it doesn't let me send that again, even restarting the poll. Now, it should be loading. Please, as soon as you can see it, as always, complete the poll. And it's done. There you go. Again, thanks for your patience once again. Don't forget to work on those 2 steps, please. And don't forget to use different colors for the 2 steps so that we have everything in order and organized. Have a good night and see you tomorrow for the reading practice.
Thank you, teacher. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good night. See you.